The Olympic competition is raging on, but the NHL trade deadline is looming. And when you're a team like the Avs in the driver's seat of the NHL, you know they're going to add. So the question is, what is the major addition the Avs could be adding at the NHL trade deadline? We each have one name to argue for today. I'm going to give you a very familiar name to start us off, and that is Ryan O'Reilly. We know the Avs need a 3C. That's been made abundantly clear. We know the Avs have been after Ryan O'Reilly for a long time, and historically, the Avs always seem to get their guy when it comes back around. To be fair, they had Ryan O'Reilly once upon a time, but could make a ton of sense for Colorado. Now, I do think there are a few issues here. One, you absolutely worry about Ryan O'Reilly's aging curve. I think that is totally fair. And two, you worry about the price that it's going to take to get him out of Nashville, because it would probably be a lot. But when you look at Ryan O'Reilly, is he in the decline? Is he starting to age out a little bit? Probably. But this is still a guy who's putting up near a point per game this season, and he's playing the toughest competition in the NHL. When you put him on a Colorado Avalanche team down in a third line role, is his scoring going to dip because he's not playing as much? Yes, but you're also very likely to see his on-ice product get a good bit better, not playing against the absolute best competition in the NHL. Of course, he's been a great defensive forward for his entire career. Yes, he's not the fastest skater in the world. He might not fit the Avs when it comes to that side of things, but O'Reilly would give the Avs that solidity to their bottom six. Middle six, really. He'd be more of a middle six guy than a bottom six guy. He'd be a luxury type 3C. Yes, I know he didn't do a great job as 3C in Toronto when they tried that experience, but when you look at the team that the Avs would be able to put around him, I think O'Reilly is the type of piece you're talking about that could put a team's depth over the top.
I also think with O'Reilly in Colorado in particular, years the way that Brock Nelson has been so good defensively this year that you're not looking at O'Reilly and saying, okay, I need you to take the toughest defensive matchups that we possibly have.
Yeah.
You can take some of them, but he doesn't have to do all the heavy lifting there because Brock Nelson's been so good. And then because you would still have Jack Drury, who is primarily going to be a defensive center, you can move around Ryan O'Reilly a little bit and put him in some offensive situations. He is a very good player on the power play.
Yeah.
You put him there, and he should make that unit a little bit better as well. Obviously, the face-offs, the defensive acumen, those are all things that check boxes and have checked boxes his entire career. But I do like the idea, and again, luxury. But once again, you're talking about this would be the kind of upgrade that is twofold. Like with Brock Nelson, when the Avs gave up the moon for him last year, it kept him out of Winnipeg. Yep. Keeping him out of Minnesota, keeping him out of Dallas, very important for the Avalanche.
Yeah,
I also
good
think
point.
it's
you can win on two phases. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say too, if you're looking at roles online as well, and you're looking at Jack Drury to maintain some of that defensive forward kind of role that he's been placed in, I really wonder what a guy like Ryan O'Reilly could do for the guys around him too. If you're talking about, yes, maybe decreased minutes, but looking at maybe getting more out of Parker Kelly, or maybe Ross Colton's not part of that deal. What he could do for Ross Colton on that third line, Gavin Brindley, like there are so many opportunities, especially with a veteran presence like him, that I think could really benefit a lot of the bottom six.
You add some stability. McKinnon, Nelson, O'Reilly, Drury down the middle is unimpeachable, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's the
they
best
would
center
also all
depth
be back next year.
Right. And that's what I wanted to get to as well. O'Reilly does have one more year on this deal. $4.5 million is not a crazy number. It may be a touch high for a guy you're projecting as a 3C role, but if you're getting the luxury version of Ryan O'Reilly, it's probably worth it.
Yeah.
There is other considerations here. I think there is a strong vibe that the Avs may want to go out and target a lefty more importantly than a 3C, given how they're constructed this year. So I do think there are arguments for other guys, which I'm sure we're going to get into. But for me, we've talked about O'Reilly at every trade deadline for the most of this decade, since 2020.
Yeah.
We're getting down to the end. These are starting to be the last chances that Ryan O'Reilly is going to make sense for the Avs. So if they're going to do it, it might have to be this year or never. I know I'm not the only one with a forward here. Bailey, Who you got?
When you're looking at adding a 3C, when you look at gritty forwards, you've got Ross Colton. You've got, maybe you can make a case for Gabe Landeskog. But who better to add a gritty presence than with the addition of somebody like Vincent Trocheck to the forward core of Avs forwards? He's somebody I've had my eye on for years and years and years, and I really love the gritty style of play he plays with. When you're talking about somebody who really likes to drive the net, who really likes to get into those dirty areas, this is somebody who really likes to do that. And if you're looking at a 3C who maybe you want a little more production out of, like he knows how to score. He knows how to score close to the net, which is something I personally really love. As much as, we all love to talk about hating the floater passes from the blue line. You're talking about somebody who can maybe capitalize on some of those if they're on net, or, maybe eliminating some of that altogether. You've got the offensive production in a guy like Vincent Trocheck. And the one thing that I think I do maybe worry about here a little bit is term. You're looking at somebody who's 32 years old. He's got a couple more years left on his contract. You're maybe looking for New York to retain some of that. But if you can make all of those pieces fit, I mean, looking at somebody who's maybe driving those dirtier areas on the offensive side of things a little bit more, I think he'd be a perfect fit here in Colorado.
Yeah. I mean, he's been an automatic 20-goal scorer for the last handful of years, a guy who has put up solid offense. If you were in some ways similar to O'Reilly, I think, but if you are looking to bolster the offensive depth of your forward core, if you're comfortable with Brock Nelson taking all of those defensive shifts and Jack Drury getting in on some of those defensive shifts, and you just want more offensive punch down the middle, Trocheck's one season removed from a 77-point season. Last year only had 59 points. Production down a little bit this year because of injury issues that he's been dealing with, but this is a guy who everyone peaks differently, right? We all love to put it in the box of someone's prime is like 27 to 30, but really some of Trocheck's best seasons have come at age 30 plus.
Yep.
Yeah. He does check so many boxes. The age is a concern, but when the Avs are so all in on right now, and really we've talked about this on the show so many times, that their window is the Brock Nelson contract.
Pretty much.
And this is in that. It just continues it, right? I worry that he's never really played that kind of role. Like the last time that he averaged less than, I guess it's 1752 is the lowest he had in 21-22, and he was still in Carolina. But the next after that is 1920 when he was in Florida and Carolina. Like, he's never really done a 3C role. He's also right-handed, which is another righty that they would have.
True.
It would give them balance, though, with 2 and 2. The look down the middle, though, you would be talking about Trocheck is better offensive than defensive. So he's going to drive a little bit more offense. He's going to be more of a scoring threat. Defensively, he's still sound. He's just not, like, spectacular, right? And as mentioned with Ryan O'Reilly, with Brock Nelson around, with Jack Drury around, you don't really need a 3C that is, like, defense first. You can get a solid player. And if you can get a guy that drives offense for you, that makes your entire lineup such a huge problem.
Mm-hmm.
And great in faceoffs. And again, because I dug into this recently, Vinny Trocheck, good in all faceoff areas. There are a lot of guys that are really good in specific
the neutral
areas.
Zone.
Yeah. Ryan O'Reilly, very good neutral zone faceoff guy. Still solid, but not elite faceoff wise elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Vinny Trocheck, it doesn't matter the area. Just a great faceoff guy. He's just really good at winning them. Yep. And that versatility, he helps you. He clearly can handle a top 6 role. If Brock Nelson were to age out, he'd start to decline. They could swap roles, and in a year or two, it could be Vinny Trocheck 2C and Brock Nelson 3C. Like, it's and the physicality of Vinny Trocheck lays a lot of hits.
That's what kind of that's the biggest box that he checks for me too. Like if we're talking about an Avs team that needs a little bit more grit, a little bit more physicality heading into a very heavy playoffs, he seems like one of the most this makes sense type of additions for this team.
Yeah.
With that
and
alone.
I will say this about just about all the center options. You get him, he doesn't go to Minnesota, he doesn't go to Dallas.
Yep.
That's a pretty good spot. You're in a good spot there. Like, it would be expensive in trade, in assets. There's a fair argument to be made that you probably don't have the assets to get him. There's a rumor that he doesn't want to leave the East. If that's true, like, then it doesn't matter. That rumor
hits every player that plays on the East Coast, though.
Yeah, it happens to a lot of guys. I think that it tough to argue that there maybe is a better fit for that job. And again, total luxury, but we're talking about push you over the top center depth.
That's what the Avs should be looking for, right?
Not the Sam Carrick. Well, Jack Drury, Sam Carrick, like, you're solid and reliable and you're good and steady, but there's an offensive cap there. No, you get Ryan O'Reilly, you get Vincent Trocheck, like, you're in the money, son.
Yeah. It's hard to beat that.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, his playoff performances have been a little hit and miss. His last playoffs was 23-24 with the Rangers, where he was amazing, essentially being their 1C.
Could also say that about half the Avs players, too.
Yeah.
So, like,
right. But just something people consider is playoff caliber performances
Valid.
When the Avs go out and get guys.
Totally.
I don't know that I worry about it too much, but something on the list that people are watching. And then we have AJ with the one defenseman we're talking about on this one, and it's a name you're going to have heard before from him.
If you're talking about guys who have performed in the playoffs, this isn't him, because he's never been there.
Clean slate.
Exactly. There's nothing to really hold against him. Mario Ferraro has been one of those guys that I've had my eyes on for the last couple of years. He's long been a guy that really high reputation in NHL circles, very affordable contract, but was clearly being overplayed in San Jose as like a top pairing, top defenseman, like defensive situations. Much better results this year now that they've got some veteran guys in there that are playing ahead of him a little bit. He is still taking hard minutes. He still is seeing much stronger competition than he's probably genuinely suited for.
Yeah.
It's like low end top pairing kind of competition.
On a cup contender, probably a second pairing guy.
Yeah, you would have a conversation about where he could fit. He could fit in a number of ways, and it would depend on what your defense looks like, because if you were to acquire him, you're going to have to move somebody. You're not acquiring him to sit. You're not acquiring him to sit and be other guys. So you'd be moving somebody out, and that would go a long way towards determining what it's going to look like. Obviously, the easy name is Sam Girard, because you're not trading Brent Burns, and Josh Manson and Sam Malinsky just re-signed, and Cale Makar and Devon Taves are pretty settled in their role. So
you think?
I do. And with Ferraro, you're talking, he's 27. He played alongside Cale Makar in college. Everybody likes to make that connection. Like, it's super important. Consider it like a character witness, right? Like you
a level of comfortability when you're trading for a guy, right? Like
when you're doing background, it's really easy to go downstairs and go talk to Cale Makar and be like, "Hey, so what's up?"
True.
And he'll be able to tell you. Doesn't provide much in the way of offense. He has never hit. He's hit 20 points once. He had a 21-point season 2 years ago, but otherwise is not going to do much on that end. What he does do, though, he competes hard. He blocks a lot of shots. He lays a lot of hits. He spends a lot of time in his own zone, so he's had a lot of practice in his career. Again, being on a bad Sharks team and being overused. The big pockmark here, he's bad on the penalty kill. He's never been a good PK guy. He's always been over-relied on. Among San Jose's regulars, he's their top PK defenseman. That is not what he should be doing. It just isn't. His contract expires this year, so what does his next deal look like? How expensive is it? Again, depending on how they kind of move money around at the deadline. They might have the cash to keep him. They might not. I just don't know the answer to that question. The big thing for me, the competitiveness and left-handedness are really important. He is a good skater, though. As a defensive defenseman, he's not like cement in his boots kind of guy. He moves well. He's just not very good with the puck. He's just not very good with it, but very competitive, very physical. Those are two attributes that the Avalanche need to be keying on. And with his agility, I think that you could see a natural fit. He is a guy that I would be throwing a dart on. I've always said this, that I think in Colorado, he would be better suited to have more success than he has in San Jose. He's more insulated. He's not asked to do nearly as much. He's not, the heavy lifting will not be, Pixel agrees with me, the heavy lifting would not be nearly the same amount. And that I just think is why I'm kind of buying stock in. He's an arrow up guy on a much better version of the Sharks. I don't think that's a coincidence. And I think that you put him in Colorado, the arrow goes up even more.
A guy who, again, the Avs need to be targeting a more defensive-minded defenseman if they're going out and getting one. They are pretty well stocked with puck movers at this point. And yeah, Mario Ferraro is not going to be a heavily offensive impact guy. But when you talk about replacing in the lineup someone like Sam Girard, look, I love Sam Girard. He's great. But because of injury and otherwise, the offensive production really has not been there for Girard over the last 3 years. So you're really not missing out on a ton offensively if you're making that type of a swap.
Yeah.
And you're adding that physical element, which we can talk for hours about how the Avs need a little bit more of that. So
that was going to be the point that I honed in on. Again, when you're talking about the playoffs and that one thing that maybe could push the Avs over the edge that they're missing at this point is that physicality aspect. And if you're looking to get that out of Mario Ferraro, somebody who maybe is more defensively sound, like it seems like when you're looking at checking all the boxes, like that guy does it.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's just an obvious balancer of you have serious question marks about a Sam's pairing in the playoffs. Yeah. You don't have those question marks if it's Mario Ferraro next to Sam Malinsky. And then you have Manson and Burns floating around as well. So,
but Ferraro is also a guy that you could, if you wanted to, you could move him around. You could put him next to McCarr for a shift or two. This is not a game thing.
Just cut down Taves minutes
like situationally,
a bit,
yeah, and you could move Taves around a little bit. We've seen Devon Taves struggle a little bit more than we're used to, and on off nights, you don't have to feel like we still have to go with him. We've got an option. And again, I'm saying that is a good way to overuse him if you do it regularly. This is not that guy. He is going to be much more 2-3 than 1-2 in terms of pairings. You do not want to have him on your top pairing regularly. You cannot handle that.
For sure. All right. Let us know who the Avs should get. O'Reilly, Trocheck, Ferraro, or someone else. Put it down in the comments who the Avs should trade for at the deadline. We'll have more deadline content coming for you next week. If you enjoyed this, consider checking out our full podcast. We do a full hour-long podcast 5 days a week here at the NVR Avalanche. Like and subscribe if you really liked it. We appreciate y'all, and we will see you in the next video.
We all silly like the mayor.